Welcome. Today we tune in to something deeper, something beneath headlines, history books, and national pride. We tune into a frequency, a signal, a mindset, a vibration that runs through the hearts and minds of people across a nation. The frequency in the minds of Americans makes them great. Greatness is not just political power, not just wealth, not just victory in war or global influence. Greatness is energy, and Americans at their best carry a mental frequency that drives them to create, build, dream, and rise. This is the story of that frequency, of the thoughts that shaped a nation, the emotional code that pulses through the people. A current of belief, bravery, boldness, and becoming. You are not just listening to a video, you are stepping into a mental field, an energetic blueprint, the mind behind a movement, the psychology of a people who refuse to live small. What is frequency? It is not just sound, it is vibration, a state of being, a mental tone you hold, even when you say nothing. Every thought you repeat, every belief you reinforce, every identity you wear becomes your personal frequency. Multiply that across millions and you get a national vibration. And America's is unique. It's powerful, it's creative, it's resilient. This frequency has built rockets, written novels, fed billions, and sparked revolutions. Every generation adds something new to the signal, from the pilgrims who braved unknown seas, to the inventors who lit up the night, to the civil rights leaders who stood when others stayed silent. Each story, each struggle, each stand for something higher, tuned America's mental radio toward greatness. This greatness doesn't come from perfection, it comes from persistence, from belief that tomorrow can be better, from the refusal to settle. You'll hear it in how Americans speak. I can make it, I'll find a way. It's up to me. These are not just phrases, they are frequencies, waves of autonomy, signals of belief, echoes of vision. They say, my life is my responsibility. They say obstacles are just invitations. They say greatness is not reserved, it is created. This hour is your invitation to listen not just with ears, but with awareness, to feel the undercurrent that shaped a country, and to recognize that you too can tune into that same mental frequency. Because this is not just an American story, it is a human one. About what happens when a people tune their minds to belief, to boldness, to vision, to freedom. As we journey through these moments, each section will tune your awareness to a unique trait, a specific mental signal that, together, forms the vibration of American greatness. You'll discover how belief shapes destiny, how freedom sparks innovation, how personal responsibility builds nations, and how resilience writes new futures. You'll feel these frequencies, and you'll begin to resonate with them. Because the frequency of greatness is not inherited, it's activated. And it begins now. Now that we've tuned into the signal of greatness, we begin with one of its strongest channels, belief. Belief is more than hope, more than a wish. Belief is creative fuel. And in the American mind, belief says, why not me? This mindset, why not me, is everywhere. In entrepreneurs who start with nothing, in artists who believe their voice matters, in workers who imagine better lives for their children. From skyscrapers to moonshots, belief has always been the first blueprint. Before the invention, before the success, before the applause, there was belief. Where others see limits, the American mind asks, what if? What if this could work? What if I tried again? What if this obstacle is the very path? Belief isn't blind, it's focused. And it's what keeps a dream alive long enough to see daylight. This belief doesn't require permission. It doesn't wait for others to understand. It only requires one person to tune their mind to possibility. One person who says, I know it hasn't been done before, but that's why I will do it. One person who whispers, I see something that doesn't exist yet, and I believe it can. In the frequency of belief, failure is not the end. It is data. It is feedback. It is just part of becoming. Americans believe that effort matters, that your past does not dictate your future, that the future is built by those who believe hard enough to keep going. In a world filled with doubt, belief is a quiet revolution. It turns the average person into a force of creation. It builds homes, launches companies, heals families, and changes the world. Every American breakthrough began with someone who believed it could happen. Belief is the most powerful frequency you can carry. It makes you magnetic. It bends reality toward your vision. It creates momentum out of nothing. And in America, belief is cultural currency. It's not only acceptable to dream big, it's expected. Now pause and feel into your own life. Where have you held belief? Where have you stopped believing in yourself? Where can you turn belief back on again? Because the frequency of greatness is not locked in history. It is always broadcasting. You only need to tune your mind back to its signal. So as we close this hour, carry this with you. Belief is a choice. And when you carry it long enough, deeply enough, and fearlessly enough, it becomes reality. This is the American way. This is the creative mind in motion. This is the frequency of why not me. We now tune into a core pillar of the American mindset, a frequency that speaks softly but carries power, personal responsibility, a frequency that says, I own my future. It's the vibration of people who understand no one's coming to save you, but you can save yourself, and in doing so, uplift others. In America, the idea of self-made is more than a slogan. It's a signal. It's a commitment. It's the belief that your outcome is not just about where you started, but how you respond. Responsibility is responsibility, the ability to respond with intention. This frequency doesn't blame, it builds. It doesn't complain, it corrects. It doesn't sit and wait, it starts. Because deep in the American psyche is a voice that says, if I want something to change, I go first. There is a quiet nobility in taking responsibility. For your thoughts, your actions, your energy, no one else can own your vibration. Only you can hold your frequency, even when life shakes it. Responsibility is power disguised as duty. It says, what I allow, I invite, what I tolerate, I teach, what I lead, I become. This mindset built America's industries. It fueled its innovation. And it raised generations with a work ethic that said, I will show up even if no one claps. Responsibility is about keeping promises, even the ones you only made to yourself. When you own your frequency, you become a leader, with or without a title. People around you feel it. They begin to ask themselves, what can I control? What can I change? What can I build with what I have? And this is where societies shift. Because nations don't rise by orders. They rise by example. Responsibility is freedom in disguise. When you take ownership, you unlock possibilities. You stop waiting. You start moving. You break the mental handcuffs of blame, and you begin to walk your own path. This is the energy of entrepreneurship, of reform, of progress. Responsibility also means owning your mistakes, but without shame, without guilt, without collapse. In the American frequency, mistakes are part of mastery. Every failure is a class. Every setback is feedback. Every no brings you closer to yes. And the one who keeps going owns the result. So now we ask, where can you stop waiting and start moving? Where can you stop blaming and start building? Where can you stop reacting and begin responding? Because the greatness in America was never handed down. It was carved, created, and constructed by people who decided, it's my job to shape what comes next. That is the frequency of responsibility, and that frequency is yours to hold. We now tune into one of the most defining mental frequencies in the American psyche, the frequency of freedom. Not just the kind fought for on battlefields, but the kind cultivated within the mind, the internal vibration that whispers, I choose, I express, I create. In America, freedom is more than a right, it's an identity. It is mental oxygen, a sacred space inside the mind where new thoughts can breathe. It says, I will think for myself, I will speak my truth. I will live in alignment with who I truly am. This is not rebellion, it is resonance. Where the mind is free, innovation flourishes. Where the heart is free, art emerges. Where the voice is free, truth finds its echo. And in this frequency, greatness is no longer given, it is grown. Freedom is not the absence of rules, it is the presence of self-direction. It is not anarchy, it is authority from within. It is the voice that says, I will not betray myself to belong. I will not stay silent to stay safe. I will not wait for permission to be real. Freedom is also spiritual. It is the knowing that you are not owned by the past, not chained to patterns, not bound by labels. You are not just a product of where you were born, but of what you believe is possible for you now. And that too is a uniquely American vibration. The American mind was shaped by this idea. If I can imagine it, I can move toward it. This is why so many invent, express, and build in bold colors. It's not ego, it's not entitlement. It is freedom in motion. A frequency that says I get to define my future, and I get to begin today. Freedom is also risky. It means standing out, it means making mistakes, it means being misunderstood. But those who tune into it are rarely forgotten, because freedom is magnetic. It awakens the same permission in others. So ask yourself, where are you still waiting for approval? Where have you held your truth hostage, hoping it would make others comfortable? Where can you finally say, I choose, I create, I will be free, even if I stand alone? Because freedom is not a gift, it's a frequency, and the moment you tune in, you begin to radiate with power. This is the American energy. To dream without borders, to express without filters, to move forward without chains. And you, wherever you are, can tap into it. Freedom lives in your thoughts, in your words, in your will. So now take a deep breath. And remember, you choose, you express, you create. That's what it means to be free. Now we tune into the vibration that has carried Americans through war, depression, disaster, and doubt. The frequency that says, I rise again. Resilience is not loud, it is steady. It is the quiet decision to keep moving, even after everything has fallen apart. In America, resilience is sacred. Because this land has seen collapse, it has felt heartbreak. And every time, it rebuilt. Not instantly. Not perfectly, but relentlessly. This is the rhythm of resilience. Resilience is a choice. It says, I will not be defined by this pain. I will be refined by it. It's not toxic positivity. It's not denial. It's deeper. It's the faith that the next chapter can still be beautiful. Every wave that knocked America down was met with a comeback. The Great Depression gave birth to new industries. World wars birthed new global leadership. Loss created space for purpose. This is not mythology. This is mental frequency in motion. Resilience is not about speed, it's about direction. It's about not stopping. Even if you crawl, even if you cry, even if you break. Because in the American mindset, even failure is sacred. If you use it. There's a reason so many stories begin with, after I lost everything. That is the frequency of reinvention. A vibration that says, this is not the end, this is where I rebuild. This is where I begin again with more truth than ever before. In America, resilience is celebrated because it's universal. You don't have to be rich to have it. You don't need perfect conditions to claim it. You only need to believe. There's still more life in me. And sometimes that's all it takes. So now we ask, where have you fallen? Where did you stop rising? Where can you pick up your pieces and rebuild them into something stronger? You are not broken. You are becoming. Every scar tells a story of survival, and survival is sacred. So breathe, stand tall, even if your legs shake, and whisper to yourself, I rise again. Because that's what Americans have always done. Not because life was easy, but because giving up was never an option. This is the frequency of resilience, and it is rising in you. We now align with the frequency of vision. This is the vibration of those who see the future, feel it, name it, and then create it. In the American mind, vision is not fantasy, it's direction. It's a magnetic field pulling us forward, even through fog. It says, I see a future. Everything you see today, the cities, the internet, the art, the airplanes, began as vision. Before it was possible, it was perceivable in the mind of one human. The American frequency rewards this. It celebrates the one who dreams bigger than logic allows, because often what is unreasonable becomes reality tomorrow. To see a future is not to escape the present. It is to decode it, to sense what's missing, and imagine what could replace it. Visionaries feel what's coming long before others do, not because they're lucky, but because they listen. They listen inward, they listen forward, and they move in the direction of their insight. This is how change is born, in minds willing to look beyond what is, to imagine what can be. This is the frequency of the American builder, the visionary, the disruptor, the believer. They're not comfortable with how it's always been. They are loyal to how it could be. Vision is not just individual. It is cultural. It passes through generations. When parents tell their children, you can be anything, you can go further than I did, you can carry the torch farther. In America, dreams are inherited not as pressure, but as possibility. Every generation has visionaries, but not all generations honor them. To honor vision means to let them build, even before they're understood, to give them space to try and fail and try again. And when that space is given, a new future begins to unfold, one blueprint at a time. So now ask yourself, what do you see that others don't? What lives in your imagination that still feels far away? What wants to come through you? You do not need approval to have vision. You only need alignment. To carry vision is to carry responsibility. It's not just about dreaming. It's about staying loyal to that dream, even when life tries to shrink it. Vision demands discipline. Vision demands patience. But most of all, vision demands belief, not just in the dream, but in yourself. The future belongs to those who can see it, feel it, and walk toward it. You don't have to be famous to be a visionary. You only have to be faithful to the picture inside you. This is the American frequency of forward motion, and it lives in anyone who whispers, I see a future, and I'm building it. This hour we tune into a deeper current, the frequency of unity, a sacred signal that whispers, I am not alone. We rise together. I am part of something bigger. It's a frequency that transcends race, background, and belief. And in the American spirit, it calls loudly in times of need. Yes, Americans are fiercely independent. But when storms hit, when crisis strikes, when hearts break, because inside the American mind lives a truth, that no one truly thrives alone. And when the frequency of unity is activated, the impossible becomes possible. Unity isn't uniformity. It doesn't demand we all be the same. It only asks, can we stand side by side with our differences still visible? Can we hear each other without having to agree? Can we choose peace, even when we're passionate? Unity is strength through diversity, not despite it. In America, some of the most powerful moments came not through victory, but through coming together after loss. Through rebuilding, hand in hand, through standing in the same street, even if we came from different stories. This is a sacred frequency. It doesn't always shout, but it holds. Unity begins with this belief. You matter, I matter, we are better together. It's the opposite of fear. It's the antidote to division. It says, we don't have to agree on everything to fight for something bigger than both of us. This is how nations heal. This is how communities rise. Unity doesn't erase pain, it absorbs it. It listens, it leans in. It says, I won't let you carry this alone. It's in the hug offered to a stranger, the silence held at a funeral, the shared tears after a tragedy. And when unity vibrates in a society, healing follows. In the American experience, unity has often shown up strongest after division, after war, after injustice, after suffering. Why? Because deep in the soul of a people is a knowing. We belong to each other. That knowing is what builds nations. So now ask yourself, where can I create unity today? Where can I listen deeper? Even if I disagree, where can I say, you matter too? Unity doesn't start in governments. It starts in conversations, in gestures, in moments where you choose connection over control. This is how the American mind evolves, through we, not just me. When we vibrate with unity, we become powerful in ways the world cannot explain. Because there is no force greater than many hearts beating as one. So as this hour closes, breathe in this truth. You are not alone. You are a thread in a greater fabric. And when you show up with openness, compassion, and courage, you awaken the frequency of we the people. This is the frequency of unity, and it lives in you. You are now entering the frequency of innovation, the signal of the mind that doesn't settle, the pulse of those who ask, what if? Why not? How else? This is the heartbeat of American greatness, the spirit of possibility that disrupts the old to build the next. Innovation isn't reserved for Silicon Valley. It's not only for billionaires. It begins wherever someone sees a broken system and dares to ask, could this be better? It's the parent reinventing education for their kids, the chef mixing two cultures in one kitchen, the young coder writing the future from a basement. Innovation is never about copying. It is about listening to the whispers of what's not yet here. It's messy, it's uncertain, but it's sacred. And it begins with one mindset. I invent a new way. In America, every generation has been handed a set of problems, and in response, someone, somewhere, invented their way through. From railroads to rockets, from paper ballots to blockchain, from the cotton gin to quantum computing. Innovation is evolution, activated. But innovation is not just in tech, it's in policy, it's in relationships, it's in daily life. Every time you ask, could we do this with more love, more efficiency, more equity, more humanity? You're inventing, you're shaping the new world, one insight at a time. This frequency thrives in risk, because to invent means to fail, to fall, to look foolish, until suddenly you change everything. Every breakthrough was once misunderstood. Every genius was once ignored, until their frequency became impossible to ignore. So where are you being called to invent? What in your life, or your world, feels outdated, broken, or bloated? What dream is knocking that requires you to let go of tradition and build the blueprint from scratch? Because that's how America grew, not from copying Europe, but by creating what didn't exist anywhere else. To innovate is to evolve out loud. It requires grit, curiosity, courage, and trust in your own brilliance, even if it scares people. You are not here to fit in. You are here to push forward, to create the next chapter, and to pass that mindset on. So now, breathe deep into your creativity and declare, I am allowed to invent. I am allowed to rebuild what failed. I will stop waiting for permission and start creating solutions. This is the frequency of innovation, the frequency of possibility, the frequency of the American mind when it says there's always another way. We now enter the vibration of courage, the frequency of those who face what others avoid, who walk into fire, not for ego, but because something inside them says, this matters. This must be done. It is the spirit of those who built America, and the soul of those who continue to protect it. Courage isn't loud. It's not arrogance. It's not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move despite it. The mother starting over, the soldier kissing their child goodbye, the whistleblower risking everything for truth. This is the frequency that bends history. To be courageous doesn't mean you don't tremble. It means you choose integrity over comfort, action over silence, truth over safety. America has always been shaped by those who disobeyed fear. Courage isn't always public. Sometimes it's quiet. It happens behind closed doors. Choosing sobriety, confronting trauma, walking away from toxic comfort. These are revolutionary acts, even when no one sees. In America, courage built bridges, literally and figuratively. Bridges between races, between ideas, between generations. Because the brave don't only protect themselves, they reach for each other. So ask yourself, what are you being called to face? What have you avoided that now demands your full presence? Because courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers just one more step, and that's enough. You do not have to be fearless to be free. You only have to stand long enough to speak, act long enough to break inertia, and trust long enough to see change unfold. Courage is momentum in motion, and America has always moved forward, one bold soul at a time. Courage is contagious. When one person stands up, others remember they can too. This is how revolutions are born. Not just on battlefields, but in hearts, in classrooms, in relationships, in you. So breathe in, and remember, you do not need all the answers to begin. You only need the will to walk forward. Anyway, this is the American courage. Not perfect, but persistent. It is the frequency that shapes nations. It is alive in you. This is the final vibration, the frequency of legacy. The deepest truth in the American spirit is this: I am not here only for me. There is a calling to plant seeds, to shape culture, to build something that will outlive you. And in this, you become eternal. Legacy is not what you leave behind. It's what you set in motion. It's how your choices ripple outward, long after your name is forgotten. It's the law passed that protects, the poem that inspires, the family raised with love and vision. In America, legacy is sacred. Not everyone leaves behind buildings or books. Some leave behind kindness, a healed bloodline, a new way of thinking. That too is a monument. Not made of stone, but made of impact. In the American mind, legacy is deeply connected to freedom and responsibility. What you build will echo. What you neglect will echo. So choose wisely, speak truth, create what matters, even if you never see its full bloom. Legacy doesn't require wealth, it requires intention. What are you teaching through your actions? What values will your name be attached to? You don't need to be remembered to leave behind remembrance. Every American generation has wrestled with this question. What will we leave behind? And with each challenge, someone chose to do the harder thing, the nobler thing, the enduring thing. That is how a nation matures. That is how a soul matures. So now, ask yourself, what are you really building? Beyond the job, the goals, the accolades, what is your contribution? And who will whisper thank you years from now because you didn't give up? Legacy is the highest frequency because it outlives ego. It outlives fear. It outlives even you. It says, let my life be a seed. Let my words be a compass. Let my love echo beyond my breath. That's the mindset that built America. And it is the mindset that will guide its future. So take this final breath with purpose and say within yourself, I am not here just to succeed. I am here to serve, to shape, to leave a light on for those behind me. This is the frequency of legacy. This is what makes Americans truly great. And now, it is yours to carry forward. Let your frequency echo. Let it outlive you. Before you go, if this journey stirred something in you, if it awakened a deeper sense of who you are and what you're capable of becoming, like this video to let the frequency rise. Comment below with what resonated most, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because this channel isn't just about content, it's about transformation. Share this with someone who needs to remember their greatness. And always remember, you are not just a viewer. You are a part of this frequency.